All right, it's time for another 5-minute post-game show, courtesy of Post-Game Pints. Let's start that clock. Campbell and Gallo with you once again. Game one, Stanley Cup final, Mitch. We're going to jump right into it. Canadians, they lost 5-1. Was that a 5-1 hockey game?
Sean, let me start off by saying I absolutely love your hat.
Thank you.
As far as the scoreline in the hockey game, yeah, it was a 5-1 hockey game. There's no doubt about it. The Tampa Bay Lightning really did what they wanted to do at times. They owned the Canadians at times. Their top players played like top players, and the line of Palat, Point, and Kucherov looked unstoppable at times. The better team won, and the goal margin is pretty indicative of the way the game was played tonight.
Yeah, and I just felt when Tampa flexed their muscles, they were that much better. And the Canadians didn't have that pushback when things weren't going their way. And look, there's going to be moments where Tampa's going to be a lot better than the Canadians throughout this 7-game series. But I just felt that the Canadians didn't have the fight back in game one, but they've lost game ones before. They've won game ones. We'll see how the Canadians bounce back. And they have shown throughout these playoffs that one loss really doesn't affect of their game plan of or how they want to play. So I think that they'll be able to make the change. What about the decision, Mitch, of Jake Evans and not playing Yoel Armia?
I mean, I didn't love that decision, Sean. I understood the explanation, which was, well, Armia hadn't been on the ice in a few days. He wasn't involved in the final practice before leaving for Tampa Bay. And he also had a lot on his plate and mind with having to deal with the COVID protocol and not be with the group. So I get why the coaching staff put Evans instead of Armia. I just think that it was maybe a bit of overcoaching, but it's only for one game. And, we're going to see Armia right back on that fourth line next game, I would think.
Sorry, I think I just glitched out there.
You froze a little bit. So just jump back from I said that I think Armia is going to be back on the fourth line in the next game.
Yeah. So, and I wonder if they're going to make any other changes on that one. But at the same time, I don't know how much the Canadians want to change anything that they do. I think that they feel like this is the right recipe to move forward and to come in and just continue to do the recipe that makes them successful. Just so what adjustments do they need to make, Mitch?
I think the number one thing they have to do as far as adjustments is concerned is try to limit how much the Suzuki line is out against the point line and really do what they were doing earlier in the playoffs in the matchup game with the Dano line. I thought the Suzuki line had a really tough time, and I know it's harder to do it on the road. And I know John Cooper is a very good coach and is hyper aware of the matchups and getting the matchups that he wants. But if the Canadians want any shot, I think they got to make sure they control the matchups a little bit better than they did in game number one.
Yeah, I thought size was a problem for Caulfield and Suzuki with that defense core. That defense core is big, and it seemed to be a problem. It's a big to try and get in for rebounds, in for anything else. But at the same time, I thought size was a problem. We'll see how the Canadians adjust there. What about the image or the imagery of the bloody Brendan Gallagher that we saw in game one?
I mean, Brendan Gallagher gets his nose in everything, right? So there's going to be a lot of those type of scrum situations because he goes until the whistle and then some, and he drives defensemen crazy. In that case, a forward and a defenseman, he gets tackled down, loses his helmet before Sergachev gets in that wrestling match with him, and Gallagher seemed like a willing combatant the whole time. I think you just have to be happy and grateful that it appears he was cut, yes, but didn't suffer any major injury on the play. But the imagery obviously is quite something, watching the blood trickle down his face.
Yeah, add that to the Jeff Petrie eyes, the gash across the nose for Corey Perry, and it's just another block that the Canadians get through. And hey, game one, Vasilevsky just had that edge on Carey Price. If you want to break down the goals or not, it doesn't really matter. One goalie won, one goalie lost. So we'll head into game two, and we'll see what changes will be made for the Canadians or even the Tampa Bay Lightning, who came out victorious in 5-1 fashion. That's it for us, Mitch. another 5-minute post-game joke, courtesy of Post-Game Pints. I know you love my hat. I know you'll love their terrace. Check out their terrace on La Brosse. It's the perfect place to watch the game.
Adios.
Cheers.